Hashtag I'm sorry Jungin is a campaign that's going on in South Korea. While baby Jungin's adoptive parents are still on trial, people are trying to spread this message nationwide. After the BTS member Jimin joined this campaign, many people around the world got to know about this incident as well. A 16-month-old baby who once used to be a happy baby later got abused by her adoptive parents and turned out to be like this. As you can see, there's bruises all over her face. It seems like there's a little cut behind her ear. I don't know how that happened. This next picture shows Jungin wearing a shoulder cast, and it seems like she has a bruise on her arm in this picture too. Jungin was born when her biological mother was 17. At that time, her mother was a minor, so she obviously could not raise Jungin. She sent Jungin to Holt Children's Services. Holt sent Jungin to one of their foster mothers. Although the foster mother has taken care of many babies, she specifically liked Jungin more because Jungin smiled a lot and was a very responsive baby. The foster mother's sister really wanted to adopt Jungin. However, it's usually very difficult for common people to adopt a child in Korea, so they gave up and hoped that Jungin would be adopted by better people. According to the Korean news, Holt made it easy for Chang and An to adopt Jungin just because their parents are ministers. Chang's father is a minister at a First Presbyterian church, and An's father is a minister at a Baptist church. It was obviously not the right decision to allow these people to adopt baby Jungin. After they adopted Jungin, they appeared on a TV show pretending to be a loving family. An, who is the adoptive father, even said this: "I wanted to show the world that not only celebrities, but also people like us can choose to adopt. Adoption is not something to hide, but rather something to be celebrated." As you can see, the picture shows Chang and An as well as their kids, including baby Jungin. If you look closely at Jungin's forehead, you can see that there is a little dark spot right above her left eyebrow. The police later found out that the adoptive father An shot a BB gun at her forehead. As time went by, more and more people, especially the daycare teachers, started to notice that there were a lot of bruises on baby Jungin's body, as well as other minor injuries, so they reported to the police. However, the first report was taken lightly due to the fact that not only were the adoptive parents denying that they were abusing her, but also the police officers explained that unless the child had fractures or open scars, they could not open the case. The police officers also kept on explaining how the adoptive parents would never do such a thing, since their parents were both ministers. Unfortunately, this led to dismissing the report. The adoptive parents became even more sensitive after the first report, and was also upset at the fact that the daycare teachers took Jungin to the doctor without telling them. Everyone, including the daycare teachers, knew the adoptive parents were abusing Jungin because there were so many bruises on her body. However, the adoptive father An kept on saying they are birthmarks, not bruises. On the show 그것이 알고 싶다, several doctors showed the difference between bruises and birthmarks. It was clear that what Jungin had were all bruises. The third report was done by a pediatrician who regularly examined Jungin since the first child abuse report in May. The pediatrician strongly insisted that Jungin should be separated from the adoptive parents immediately. She thought that Jungin would be saved, but the police didn't listen to the doctor, and sadly, baby Jungin died. The police later found 800 videos of Jungin being abused by her adoptive parents on their cell phones. Now, you may be wondering what the adoptive parents were doing right after poor baby Jungin was dying. The adoptive mother, Chang, texted her husband, An, whether or not she should take her to the hospital. Rather than calling the ambulance, she decided to take a taxi to get to the hospital. The taxi driver noticed that Jungin was in a critical condition and convinced Chang to call the ambulance. She didn't listen to the taxi driver. He insisted she should call the ambulance, and she finally did. As they arrived at the hospital, she went in with Jungin and then got back to the taxi, claiming that she left her cap in there. Basically, Jungin was horribly sick and dying, but Chang didn't really care about it at all. While the doctors were trying everything to save Chungin's life, her adoptive mother, Chang, was busy ordering some fish cake. Many people are wondering whether the adoptive parents will be convicted for child abuse or for murder. Of course, a lot of people are hoping that the adoptive parents will be convicted for murder, because if they go to jail for child abuse, they will only stay in jail for about 6 to 7 years. The problem is, although there is enough evidence to prove that there was a child abuse case, Korean law experts say that there is not enough evidence to prove that this is a murder case. You may be wondering why that is the case. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the Korean law. I made this video so that more people get to know about this incident and support Jungin. As the show 그것이 알고 싶다 says, while Chang and An have hired expensive lawyers, poor baby Jungin has no lawyer who can support her.